Blessed be everybody, and welcome to another episode of Witch Please. It is I, Odin the Seer. I'm really excited today because today we're doing something that I've always wanted to do in film. I've done it for years, and people have asked me to make it for Christmas gifts and whatnot, but I've never really had a chance to actually film the whole process. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of Kyphi Incense. What Kyphi Incense is an incense that was created by the pharaohs, and it used to be burned in the temples of Ra. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making my take on Voodoo Kyphi Incense. This is going to be a 13-day process. By the time you're done, you come up with these little balls and Traditionally, with Kyphi incense, you were supposed to burn it only at a certain time of the day. You used to burn myrrh in the morning, frankincense midday, and then you would burn Kyphi at night. Where voodoo is more of a subconscious, or I believe to be more of a sun type energy, you can burn it throughout the day. Kyphi is a night incense. My voodoo Kyphi is a day, or really anytime incense. You are going to need a bottle of red wine. This was what you're going to be using as a base to your Kyphi incense. You're also going to need a glass, because half the fun of making voodoo Kyphi incense is getting drunk. Serve it up! Traditional Kyphi incense, normally they would use stuff like cedar or lotus. I actually make Kyphi incense, Kyphi oil, and I put the Kyphi oil in there. Now, you can always click anywhere down here. I don't know where Loki's going to put the link. I probably got on his nerves and it's going to be right across my face. You can click on that link and you can watch Loki making the Kyphi oil. The other thing that I'm going to use is I'm going to use Ambergris Oil. I love to use Ambergris Oil because of the fact that it's just so mystical and powerful. And so very rare. Now you can always click on another link, wherever Loki's putting it, right there. For those of you who are always wondering, how am I going to get ambergris? It's so expensive. We will show you how to make it. You will need some sort of cutting board or mat. This is only for the first part of this. After that, it's going to be more of a pestle and mortar and grinding that you're going to do throughout the rest of the 12 days. You are going to need 2 jars. One of them is going to be for the wet ingredients and one of them is going to be for the dry ingredients. You are going to need a knife. Now, a lot of the time you'll hear people say, oh, you can only use plastic knives. They say never use metal to be able to cut these for any kind of magical workings. These people have a tendency to be uptight, okay? Use what you have at hand. There's no need to go out there and buy a porcelain knife that's going to cost you an arm, a leg, and a nut. Don't worry about any of that. If you hear those traditionalists, that's fine. They can do what they want to do, but it's not going to affect your Kyphi or your voodoo Kyphi incense in any way, shape, or form. So you're also going to need dates. So, let's get started. I'm so freaking excited! What you're going to do is you're going to take your dates. This is the first dates I ever had that have twigs on them. Yeah, it's a little too natural for me. It's funny because you get all these witches who are just like, oh, I like things that are natural, and I still like, you know, the hair to be on my meat. And I'm just like, no, thank you. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to crack open this bad boy. Oppa! It's like Emerald Lagasse, and he's sitting there, he's like, oh, he just pours some more freaking drink in his. I'm just like, that man has drinking problems, but I love him. Oh, this thing still has the seeds in it. This is going to be so painful. So, yeah, I guess there is something to this being all, like, natural like this. I'm not going to complain. Serenity now. Leo? Yeah. Don't push me. Very few people have the balls to stand up to me. Loki is one of those people. As much as it thickens me, I also find it very attractive. Honestly, it's like every time I pull the seeds out, it's like I'm pulling out something out of his little cocoon. It's actually very, very unsettling.
Some kind of larvae or...
Oh, don't do this to me! The thing about witchcraft is witchcraft has a tendency to be like, oh, you need to put in this and 2 drops of this and 1% of this and 1/4 of this. Voodoo, although it has that same kind of structure to it, I find that voodoo really goes with intent, right? What you feel you need to do and what you need to put in it, you put in it. It's the way it is. I found that embracing the voodoo aspect of myself really allowed my magic to be able to flourish. Everything about what I was creating at that point in time was filled with intent. How can anybody eat these? So I think this should be enough dates, hopefully. A lot of people try and use dates, which is more traditional. However, I have a tendency to also use apricots. Apricots are wonderful to use, and it's just a beautiful color. If you use prunes, that you're going to get more of a liquidy kind of consistency, which is easier to be able to melt. Give her a go. Try it. See which one works best for you. But you may find that the Kyphi incense that you use, using plums or using dates or using apricots, you may find that the scent alone may cause you to go into a state of higher consciousness. The path of magic has never been, there is a well-worn path, but it's never been set in stone. I've had so many witches come to me and say, oh, what book do I need? Or what type of herbs are good herbs to start off with? And I've always told these people, I'm like, you don't need anything. You need to have intent. That's all you really need. If what you seek it, you cannot find within thee, you will never find it without thee. Alright? So for any of you guys who are all like, what's the point of doing a spell then? Why would I do a spell if I don't need that? Because it's about focusing your intent. Achieving what you want is going to be the easiest thing you'll ever do. Okay? Preparing yourself for that, that's the hard part. And that's where intent comes in. You can have the best amount of herbs. They can be empowered by the most powerful person in the world. Honey, if your intent is not right, it ain't going to work for you the way you want it to. Herbs in and of themselves have power. Absolutely. I'll be the first person to admit the fact of the powers of herbs. However, I'm also the first person to tell you that if you don't have the right herb, but you have the right intent, no matter what you throw in there, it's going to make that difference. And people have got to start understanding that. It's not the amount of herb or where the herb came from or what herb it is for that matter, right? It's about how you look at it and how you place it. Now granted, if you focus your intent properly and you use a combination of herbs, the things that you can do, unbelievable. When I go and I do spell working, I never, ever sit there and try and hold an image in my head for 45 minutes and whatever. I don't do that, okay? I just let my mind go where it's supposed to go. Am I still focused on what it's supposed to be? What I'm trying to accomplish? Absolutely, right? Very much focused on that. However, I don't try and direct where it's going to be. I will just drift off into me being there with whatever it is that I'm trying to manifest. I have faith. And people don't understand about faith too. People have this preconceived notion that, oh, you know, faith is just blind whatever. And it's not about that, okay? When you pray for something or you try and manifest something within your world and you spend 2 hours doing a magical spell, which is a long spell, but you spend 2 hours doing a spell, calling deities, whatever, and focusing your intent on the desired outcome, and then you go and you spend 6 days worrying about whether or not it's going to work. If those 6 days can destroy all that magical working and all that intent that you did, how can you not realize that you can also focus intent that way, the same way, and you can just think about it happening, think about it manifesting, right? That's all intent too, and you have to understand that. You've been focusing your intent for years. Whether you're focusing it positively or negatively, that is the question. Do I empower my dates? No, right? Do I not empower my dates because of the fact that I don't feel it's necessary? Again, do what you want to do, right? I find that the real empowerment comes from grinding the herbs for me. I find that the dates, per se, or the liquid part of this of this incense, I find that that's the binder. Oppa! I had this overwhelming urge to shout out to Graveyard Girl. What do I do when I'm traditionally doing the dates? You know, I'm thinking. I have you all here with me now, and I'm discussing. And I hope you all have understood and realized that I'm talking about exactly who I am and how I see things. Right? That's empowering my dates right there. Right? It's solidifying everything about how I see this world. What makes me powerful. What makes me enlightened. When I'm doing this by myself, I think about the things that are going on in this world. The good things, the atrocities. I think about love. I think about situations that were going on in my world, how I've grown as a person, as a witch, as a voodoo priest, as a shaman, as a Wiccan priest, you name it. I think about all of these things. I think about what I did, what I went through, what brought me here. I think of all this. This is all part of my transition. This is all part of my Kyphi Incense. Kyphi Incense is about enlightenment. It's about growth. Now, normal Kyphi Incense is about the higher realms. Voodoo Kyphi Incense is more about the self, the subconscious, the inner being. So I take a lot of that time to focus on who I am, the strength in being me. And I guess in essence you can also say that by doing that, you make the base of your Kyphi Incense you. Applicable to your world, to your growth, resonating solely with your purpose in life, your destiny. So now we're all sticky. We have a good base to our Voodoo Kyphi Incense. It's almost about half a jar. Going a little further into this Voodoo Kyphi Incense, you can use it for ritual, you can use it for summoning the Orisha. I use it when I'm making my gree bags, I use it when I'm doing my voodoo dolls. I have a tendency to use my Voodoo Kyphi Incense when it comes to things that have more to do with manifesting. When it has more to do with deep transformation of the self. I find that when I'm using regular Kyphi Incense, I use it more for enlightenment, talking to angels, talking to fairies, when I'm talking to the deeper self, when I'm talking to darker energies, when I'm trying to transform something about myself that, is no longer necessarily needed within my world. Or if there's an obstacle that I'm facing that I find is pretty difficult to be able to get past that point. This is when I'll use the Voodoo Kyphi Incense. Everything that I'm teaching you here is just a guideline for you to be able to create something that's going to be better suited for you and where you're going and what your lessons are and what your development is to be. The Orisha know your intent, witch, okay? They know what you're trying to do. And if your heart is pure, they are not going to fault you for trying to grow and evolve. That won't happen. Anytime you are met with some witch or some voodooist that tells you, oh, you can't do that, that's against, you quote Odin and say, witch, please. That is your way of doing magic. Mine is something else. Don't ever let anybody tell you that the way your craft is going is not right. Because the craft is a very, very personal thing for everybody. And I don't know about you, but I don't want anybody coming into my house and telling me how to worship. Oppa! Alright, so what I'm going to do here is, as you can see, I just put 1 teaspoon, And now, this is not the one that I want. That was fatigue oil. Gonna mess up my Voodoo Kyphi Incense. We should be relaxed. So now, we are going to add 2 teaspoons of ambergris. Loki's telling me how my videos are going to be 20 minutes long. That's because they are packed full of good shit. Okay? That smells spectacular. I could just eat this stuff. So you're going to put a mouthful of wine. Just kidding. So you're just going to pour in just a little bit, and you're just going to start stirring it. The dates are going to start absorbing this red wine. And it will actually become almost like a paste. I just put the red wine into the Kyphi, the Voodoo Kyphi, and it's already absorbed into it. So this is what I'm talking about. You want to gauge every day. You want to spend a few minutes adding wine when necessary and stirring the base of your Voodoo Kyphi. This is the base of your Voodoo Kyphi Incense. This is the base of who you are, right? If you neglect it, you're going to have subpar Voodoo Kyphi Incense. Because when you start creating the herbs and you're grinding them down, you're talking about different orisha. You're talking about different beings. You're creating, a connection, and you're kind of petitioning them. This represents you. This is the base. This is your soul. This is your subconscious. So, spend some time with it. Don't neglect it. Get in there. Stir it up. Stir it up. This smells like yarrow. It smells like our child. That's wicked awesome. How does our child smell like booze? Okay, so I'm going to add just a little bit more red wine. I'm going to leave this to marinate. And I would like to wipe down the sides a little bit, because what happens is if you don't, you get these little crusties, right? That seals in the freshness. So what I do is I just leave this out, let it sit, and I'll be back tomorrow to spend, I normally spend about 15-20 minutes with it. It's really a great thing to do when you're just, sitting down, you're getting ready to grind your incense, and you're just stilling yourself. You know what I mean? Not stilling the mind, but stilling the self. You're relaxing, and it's very soothing to stir and add a little bit of red wine and what have you, and smell it, and it's, and then if you feel the need, add more oils to it, darling. Add more oils. Go ahead, put it in. Make it suit you. That's the main thing. You want that bad boy to burn, and you want to go instantaneously into trance. That's what you want with your Voodoo Kyphi Incense. So that's the video for today, and I just want to let you all know that I am so very excited that you're all here. Thank you again. Press subscribe down there. Become a member of the Witch Please family. We always love to hear from you. Comment. You can follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram. We're all there. Thank you for watching, and I'm getting a little emotional here because I have a tendency to get like that, but this means a lot to me. Blessed be to all of you, and I will talk to you soon. Love you guys. Bye.